So we saw policies a little bit before, and we saw it for our user. Remember, administrator had access to everything, right? So users can have policies of what they have access and they're allowed to do. Also, our resources can have policies as well. So if we think about this, well, what would we want kind of a public bucket hosting a website to be able to do? Well, people should be able to read to it. Should they be able to put new and different JavaScript files in said bucket? No. No, they should not be able to do that. So we want to set up a policy where you can read from the bucket. You cannot write from the bucket. You cannot delete my precious, precious JavaScripts that I work so hard on. You can only read, but anyone on the internet can read these as well, and that should be what we want in this case. Let's go ahead and see what a policy looks like a little bit. We'll go into our bucket, and there are a bunch of options here. Now I can upload stuff directly to my bucket. I can create folders. I can get different URLs from it, so on and so forth. We'll go into permissions first. We've got all of that from before. We also have the bucket policy. And this is what we're going to say, like, you can read from the bucket. You can't do anything else. So we'll go in here, we'll edit. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can just type it in as JSON. There is also a, let's see where it is on the screen. They have a tool, I think it's in here. Oh, policy generator, where you can like fill out a bunch of stuff as well, and it will kind of give you some JSON to paste in there. This is kind of like what we saw with that administrator, though, if you remember. The version is not necessarily like, when did you make this policy? So you're like, I'm going to update that to today's date. No, this is like what of AWS's schemas that this adheres to. And you can see that this is pretty stable content that we're looking at right now, because this is their kind of like spec as of October 17th, 2012. So that's the version. And then a set of statements. The SID is just some kind of identifier. It's almost like the tag, right? You can think of it as some way to kind of name it. The principal is who. Effect is either allow or deny. The action is what should they be able to do. And the resource is what should they be able to do it to, right? So for instance, we might say you can read files from the superawesome.click bucket. Who can do it? I mean anyone, right? So anyone should be able to read files from that particular bucket. So we can go in. Let's try the policy generator first. Here we are, type of policy. I've got a few options. For me, a S3 bucket policy seems to be the best, right? Who should be able to do it? Star for basically anyone. And then select actions. As you can see, this is a very long drop-down list. As we kind of mentioned before, the files in an S3 bucket are called objects. So we basically want to be able to let them get an object out of the bucket. And I happen to find it. I was going to say Command F is your friend here. But we've got get object, who can do it, anyone. And then we do need to tell them what bucket. And all Amazon resources have an Amazon resource number for what service. In this case, we want to say the bucket name. And you can say, hey, this user or anyone can only get one particular file. Or we can say all of the files in a bucket. So in our case, we'll grab this piece right here. We'll paste it in. And I'm going to put in the name of my bucket. There is also in the guide for this, in the repo, there is literally a version of this policy that you can also just copy and paste as well. But this is useful if you don't know exactly what you want. So this will go ahead and it will make a policy for us. I can copy it and bring it back over. There's also a way to do it in here, where you can kind of see, it's effectively just a different way of looking at it. It doesn't like generate you the whole policy all the time, so. Unexpected error occurred. Actually does not apply to any resources in the statement. I have to do /*. So let's make that a little. I'll show you a completed policy in a second. Cool. So let's look at like just a kind of simpler version of that real quick. This is effectively what we're going for. This is kind of the minimum in there. You can have the statement ID, anything along those lines, but allow everyone for in S3 to get an object for whatever the name of your bucket is. That's the bespoke part just for you, right? That's where you and I will travel down different roads together, but everything in that bucket. So we have the permission set up on our bucket. We have secured our bucket so that you can read files from it. We should probably deal with the next requisite problem, which is there's nothing in this bucket, right? So we probably want to do something around that. So what we're going to start out with, we will deploy that little React application at some point. But it's got a lot of files. It makes like a main.js, and that's got a stamp, and then there's a whole bunch of other files. There's a favicon of all things. I don't have time for that just yet. We're going to visit a special place in my heart, which is we are going to upload an HTML file to the internet by hand to put it onto the internet, right? Which is how I put things on the internet as a youth, and arguably up until 2014, because I worked at a company that still wanted to do that at the time. So with that, we will upload something. Now, in the notes, there is an HTML file that's empty that you can use. You can whip one up in your text editor real quick. You can grab literally anything at this point. I happen to have like an index.html that's in the notes. I have that index.html on my desktop, but like any file will do. So we'll go ahead, we'll hit add files. And let's see, I'm going to grab that index.html. And I will upload it. Great. You can set special stuff in here, but like everything is pretty much ready to go. And here's index.html. File succeeded. I can close this. And now my bucket has a file in it. I can go ahead. Not quite sure what happens if I click that. So let's find out together. And there it is on the internet with this lovely domain name, s3.amazonaws.com/superawesomes.click/index.html. Please go visit my site. Please like and subscribe. We've gotten a thing on the internet. There's a lot of work to be done here. And a few more kind of pieces involved as well, which is, it's not even like, at this point you have to have the index.html. We probably don't get a super helpful error message if we spell that out wrong. Nope. Access denied, so on and so forth. So yes, we have put a file on the internet using AWS. We could theoretically declare victory at this point. But there's a whole bunch of problems with this that I will multiple times enumerate on, but we can already see a few places where we can do better here, just in terms of the URL, the process in which we get something up here, so on and so forth. Let's go back and deal with one of those for starters. In this case, we will go deal with some of the other fun things that we can do. So we scroll down, we see those intelligent tiering configurations. We don't need those. Access logs, CloudTrail data events, event notifications. What we want to do is find static website hosting. That seems like something useful for us. We would like to host a static website. And we mean static website in the quote unquote Jamstack thing, which is most of the web applications that I've deployed are static assets that are calling APIs. So they themselves are not. The files are static, the assets are static, and then they call a bunch of APIs, and then JavaScript takes over in this case. So we'll go ahead, we'll hit edit, and we'll go ahead and we will enable that. So host a static website. That seems good. Oh, this is interesting. Index document and error document. So this is if they go to directly to the domain, like what file should we show them, right? And we're going to kind of have this work the way that the web works, which is if you just go to a directory, you should get the index.html. And optionally, instead of that really cute access denied XML that you saw, we could also send them another HTML page that is everything, oh, sorry, you've hit the wrong page. You can show them a cute dog or a meme or something, what have you, in there as well. There is an error.html in the repo in the public directory that you can use. Just to leave that as it is for now. And we can have all of that in place. Hit Save Changes. Awesome. So that is in place. We can kind of go down and verify that's enabled. And you can see you've got a, I guess, better domain, right? It's not a subdirectory of AWS Amazon.com, right? It is this wonderful domain right here. And it is not secured. It's superawesome.click.s3website.-useast1.amazonaws.com. But it is a full domain on the internet, right? And exists for these purposes. Our next goal is it is great and wonderful to just upload files by going into a UI, clicking upload, and finding them. There's a few ways we can make this better, and we already alluded to this. One is if I need to do multiple files. I mean, I think you can probably select multiple ones in your given operating system. But there's probably a lot of tricks around doing this. It'd be great if we had a way to kind of, from a command line, so that we can automate it, be able to go ahead and take an entire directory and first from our local machines, put it up into S3, and eventually we'll actually have GitHub do this for us, right? So one of the things that we're going to want to grab here is the good old AWS CLI. And you can find the instructions. I'll share them in a moment here. I'll open another tab. You can go download it for your operating system of choice. I am on Mac OS, so that's the one I have. But if you need the Windows installer, you can grab the Windows installer, the Linux installer, so on and so forth. And so you're going to go ahead and you're going to install this. And some of these, because again, I don't really feel like sharing my private key, we're going to kind of take as an exercise, which is once you have it installed for your given operating system, what you're going to do is you're going to type AWS configure. Now, hopefully, you either, when we said show me that secret key in the very beginning of the story, you copied it somewhere, or you downloaded that CSV. Either one of those are fine. Again, I will remind you that just for us all being on the same page, we're going to go with US East 1 as our region of choice. And default output format, I chose JSON. It's kind of up to you. If you find yourself with multiple accounts, there is this .aws/credentials that it will set up. That might be slightly different on Windows as to where exactly it is, where you can have like one for your main account. Like this will set up our default account for us if you have other accounts, or if you already have the AWS command line tools installed, you might choose to just set up like a side, an additional account for this workshop. So that is one option. If you're like, I have it, but it's like my company thing, and I don't really know what to do, this is a second option for you as well. But if this is your first time, you can ignore this. You can just do AWS configure, pop in your AWS access key, pop in that secret key, and once we have all of that in place, then we will go ahead and look at how to upload our cool application